From the outside looking in, it seems simple.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
And that has a big effect. And it also ends up having an effect, or is starting to have an effect, on how you make movies. Like, for instance, Netflix, the standard way to make an action movie that we learned was, you usually have like 3 set pieces, one in the first act, one in the second, and one in the third. And, they kind of ramp up, and the big one with all the explosions, and you spend most of your money on that one in the third act. That's your kind of finale. And now they're like, can we get a big one in the first 5 minutes to get somebody, we want people to stay tuned in. And it wouldn't be terrible if you reiterated the plot 3 or 4 times in the dialogue, because people are on their phones while they're watching, you know what I mean?
Oh, no.
And so then it's going to really start to infringe on how we're telling the story.
But then you look at Adolescence, it didn't do any of that.
It didn't do any of that.
And it's fucking great. You know what I mean? So I think it's dark, too. It's tragic and intense. It's like guy who finds out this kid's accused of murder, and it's like, and there's long shots in the back of their head. They get in the car, nobody says anything.
It's so masterfully made that it feels a little more like the Accept. I hope it's not.
My feeling is just that it demonstrates that you don't need to do any of that shit to get people, you know what I mean? Like, and I think, yes, the town had the action thing in the beginning, the first 5 minutes, because you know what I mean? Like, it's a common trick that you would go like, let me grab them and get them invested in. It's like the movies that start with the hero hanging from the cliff, and now we're going to flash back to the beginning and tell you how they got there. I always feel like complaining about it makes me feel like one of these guys was like, when I was a boy, like, you always want to freeze the culture at the time when you, I don't know, felt more like, we didn't used to have these phones. What the fuck are all these phones? And everybody's looking at their phone. I get it. Yes, it's true. Also, it's like supply and demand. People want to look at their phone. They can look at TikTok. They want, they're going to do that. I think what you can do is make shit the best you can. Make it really good. And, people can still go to the movies. Not like, I think we have this idea that's like an existential threat. Everything that comes along is going to destroy everything. Instead of like, what history suggests is that there's like marginal encroachments, things shift. Yep, as television came along, there was less theater going, and that's still going to happen. And people are still going to go to the movies because of what you said. Like, it feels like a cool thing to do. I'm going to go see The Odyssey, I guarantee you, in a theater, no matter what. Fewer of them. And you could argue that's because I have more choice or whatever it is. It's hard to fight supply and demand. That's the trick, right? If people want to watch a bunch of stuff at home because they invested in TVs and cost us money, they will. So, okay. But the upside of that is, like, I can try to do something, hopefully that's like, that actually doesn't need to, have the most urgency to get you to come to the theater with your family. That's a little more experimental or risk-taking or whatever in that way.
Well, you got to adapt. I mean, there's no way you're going to change people's viewing habits now.
No.
I mean, what percentage of Netflix is actually watched on phones? It's got to be pretty high, which is insane.
Yeah.
Even watching on a laptop, for me, is kind of sucks. You know?
It sucks. Yeah,
that's a joke that I like to make with every director I work with. Like, when they're really puzzling over a shot or really grinding out something, I go, it's not going to look as good on the phone. When just everyone gets angry.
It takes the wind out of their fucking sails. No, that's going to look great this fucking big. But keep fucking around and lighting that. We'll also,
It is weird, though, the concern for the algorithm, like making sure that people watch. Like, look, we've got data that shows within the first 5 minutes, when this happens, they tune out. So it's like my buddy Tony Hinchcliffe, he's got Kill Tony, and now it's on Netflix, and so they're giving him notes now, and they can give him but they're not telling him what to do, but they're saying, like, this is when people are tuning out, and so let's, just so you have that data, now decide how you want to edit things. It's like,
which is
slope
towards more IP, and
because it was hard to get people to come to the movies. Everyone got scared and thought, well, has to be a sequel or a superhero movie,
and so an interesting little movie, kind of in the '90s when we kind of came onto the scene. There were a lot of really good independent movies that were being made. There was, it was a really great time to be making movies. People were making daring movies, and then everyone just got way more conservative because it's huge. Like, the business is so different theatrically and streaming, because to put out a movie theatrically, you have to put so much more money behind it to publicize. Like, you're trying to get everybody
spending about what the budget was to make it to advertise it.
Because
you got 50% of the theatrical.
Yeah, because you split it with the movie house, right? The exhibitor.
So a $25 million movie to break even, you got to make $100 million.
And you got to get everybody to not only know about the movie, but to show up like that Friday night like that specific time, for that specific movie, and to cut through all the noise that people are contending with, and
So it just becomes about risk, and nobody wants to take the risk, so they don't want to make something new because it's such an investment, and we're going to lose our fucking money. And the streamers have stepped into that, and like, no, you didn't have to necessarily have a star. You could try something more interesting, or it didn't have to be a superhero movie, whatever it was. And also, I think it's like, frankly, like people my age, like it's, first of all, it's expensive, right? You take your whole family, it's $100. You're on a streaming service, $20 a month. You can watch all you want. So you can't be cavalier about like you're just going to price it however the fuck you want and expect everyone to like be indifferent to that. And then also, the idea of like, for me, there's a lot of stuff. I make that decision. Like, do I want to see The Odyssey on a big screen? Fucking I went to a theater to just watch the trailer for that movie. And, did I, one battle after another, I wanted to go see in the theater. But there's movies of people that I really like and respect where, and I got a good system and shit. But I'm like, look, I'll watch it and I might get tired, or I want to pause it and take a piss, or the kids, whatever it is. That's conducive to my lifestyle, and so.
And most people's
I even
lifestyle.
see few. I think most people are, yeah.